Hello Whovians and welcome back to the main channel. I've just watched 73 Yards. It was, before I tell you what time it is currently, to tell you that I did watch it at midnight. It's one of those episodes where you went, what? Come again? Excuse me? What? So the time currently is 1:10 AM. Now the reason why it's, well, I watched it at midnight, but because I was watching it with family, we had a brief discussion of whether or not we understood the episode itself, just to make sure that we all were on the same playing field, and we had to rewind it slightly to just grasp a bit. So this review contains spoilers, so if you haven't seen 73 Yards yet, then do so now, or watch it at the time it'll air on BBC One. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Yeah, there's no actual elephant, don't worry, there's no actual elephant. But the elephant in the room, in my opinion, is, excuse me, pardon, where on earth was that title sequence? There's no title sequence. Is someone gonna explain that to me? Is that a BBC iPlayer error? Or was that meant to not happen? Is it an episode because the Doctor's not in it that much? It's a Doctor Light episode? Because Ncuti Gat was filming other things and doing a selection of other things at the same time? Is this why there was no title sequence? Why do we never get a title card that says 73 Yards? Come again? Hello? Anyone? Anyone agree? Hello? Hello? I have no idea is the honest answer. And I don't think we'll ever get an idea unless, I don't know for a fact, but unless there's a commentary or unless they mention it in Unleashed. Who will know? I'll have to get back to you on that front. So, let's talk about my review for the episode now that we've come to the conclusion of, excuse me, we're now, so, over the last few episodes, and someone pointed this out, that Ncuti's Doctor and this era in general so far is very good at stepping on things, cause things. So last week with Boom, he stepped on a bomb, and this week with 73 Yards, he stepped on a witch, like, curse, sort of spell, circle, square thing. I'm not too sure what it generally was in shape-wise. And that caused Ncuti not appear in this episode as much. I mean, it doesn't harm the episode Ncuti not appearing in it, but it does give us a chance to see more of Ruby as a character, as a what-if type thing. The Snow appeared in it as it has done in the last few episodes. And Susan Twist, who I still can't work out whether or not the actress that plays Susan Twist is actually called Susan Twist or not, is there again. Ruby does make a slight referencing, I think I've seen you before, haven't I? I think I have. And that was good. So, things that we've got cleared up that I think worked in this episode were, and I'll count them up. So number one was the fact that the Snow made a reference towards the end of the episode and in bits and bobs of the episode. I like the elements that Susan Twist, even though Russell probably was a joke or probably wasn't, I'm not too sure, he made some sort of reference, well, to Susan's recognisable. I think the bit that lets down this episode is that they're not explaining where the Doctor went at the beginning, and they don't do a satisfying conclusion at the end for where the Doctor went. The other bits that I think that didn't really work well in this episode were, I think that not explaining properly who the person in the distance was. I think wrapping this up wasn't... I still think this was a good episode. I just think there's a lot of errors in it. Not as in, oh, it's terrible, ooh, it's like a bit that could have been cleaned up and explained. But I don't know whether or not this is something we're going to come back to in future episodes. That's the thing with this. We don't know if we're going to come back to it, so I don't know if these bits that were left unanswered are unanswered for the reason that we're coming back. We're going to hear more about this. There's going to be more information on this, and I think if there is going to be more information on this, then I'm all for it. But if we're leaving it as it is, I'm thinking, what? I like how we got to see the evolution of, in this, I'm going to call it alternate universe. It might not be, I'm just going to call it that. I like the evolution that we saw Ruby grow up, and I think Roger Ap William is a character that won't return. I don't think will return again, but if does, then that might help clear up some stuff from this. Did a fantastic job. I think he was the perfect character, and he does remind me of Harold Saxon. I've got to be honest. It does remind me of Harold Saxon, which, again, isn't a bad thing. It's a good thing. Kate Lethbridge Stewart appearing in it, saying that yes, Unit is still alive, and this isn't the reference we're making to a spin-off that possibly may or may not be happening. None of this is that. We're just using that as a line just to throw you off, but Unit's here, and Kate Lethbridge Stewart seemed off. Not because the character's terrible, not because, well, the character's amazing, not because of something that was, it's just the way that the character was written. You knew. I think that's slightly let down slightly, that you knew something was going to happen, because her character felt off when having a conversation with Ruby. But Ruby didn't bat an eyelid who Kate was, really. But Ruby is a smart, intelligent companion, as in, like, doesn't question things that often, doesn't bat an eye. It's like a little bit less like all the others are at the beginning of their journey, because at the beginning of a companion's journey, you don't know who he is, who they are, you don't know this, that, the other. And that's what helps slightly, because her being the age she is in real life must mean that the character must be a similar age, and the character will have witnessed everything that happens to planet Earth and the New Who run that sticks with the thing. So, to go back to 73 yards, in a sense that the reference to 73 yards worked perfectly in the football pitch. The phone app working really well to know when you're at 73 yards. That really needs to exist in real life. I'm not ever 100% sure how many yards I'm away from anyone. And I really think that would be a success on the Android and Google and app stores. Overall, as we're coming close to the end of this review now, overall, I personally think that the episode worked well in places, but overall didn't work at all. I'm not saying it was terrible, I'm not saying it was awful, I'm just saying it was a little bit like, it was like when you watch Inside Number 9 and you get a twist that you don't understand and you spend ages working out, and when you do eventually work it out, it's going, that makes sense. This was like, sort of like that. It was like it made sense. I enjoyed it, but there was bits that are still unanswered that don't feel like they're ever going to get answered, because this feels like a very much, here's what's happened. Shooter Gatwin might have been filming his Netflix series, because it was on the fourth and final series when he was doing this. He might have been filming that, so he might not have been available for most of the episode. And so she has to try and work out what's going on. She has to try and do this adventure by herself. And I do think that having her just appear in these different moments in her life, just going, seemed odd, didn't really help didn't really work. Just seemed really odd. And I think overall this episode was good. I don't think it's the best episode of this series so far, but I do think it's good. It's much. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say it, and it's an opinion that I'm a little bit like, well, both episodes will grow on me eventually one day. But I think it's better than Love and Monsters, which is deemed the worst episode ever. Love and Monsters is growing on me by the day, but the more I think about that episode, the more it grows on me. And this is one of those where it's a Doctor Light episode, but a confusing one. I know it's all going to be clear if there's a commentary, and it's all going to be clear if there's when I watch Unleashed. And I feel like the lack of title sequence really threw me off. It's the one thing I mentioned the most. It's like, what? There was no title sequence. So if I had to give this a rating out of 10, if I had to, we don't do that here, but if I had to, I would give it a 7. It wasn't bad, and it was much better than good. It was much better word than good. I haven't found the dictionary yet. So, to round off this review, my favourite moment in the episode was, and I think I've got to agree that I think it was a moment when she was on the train, and as she sat on the train trying to go home, and every time they moved, when you film the carriage from the carriage window that she was sat at, every time it moved, the figure in the distance stayed the exact same position, but just moved ever so slightly into the new location. I think that was A, filmed brilliantly, and B, was brilliant, because that was like I'm getting with it now. I'm getting with it. This character's moving with Ruby. This character is only connected to Ruby. I think that was really good. I think the worst bit for me was the ending, just because it didn't seem. I want to use a term I'm not 100% convinced I know what it means, but I think it's slightly not. I'm going to say it wasn't a satisfying ending as such. And so, there we have it. That is my review of 73 Yards. It's a 7 out of 10. If we were doing out of 10s, it was an alright episode. I would say give it a second watch. If you watch it once, I think, yeah, and rewinding bits to try and capture, you're still a bit like, I think if you wait until the end of the series and rewatch it again, and think about it and try and analyse each section of the episode, then the ending might be satisfying. But for now, I don't think the ending was that satisfying. I liked how they followed her through her life and then shot her right back to the age that she is and bring back Shooty at the end of it. I think that worked. I just don't think a lot of it was well wrapped up, because there was a lack of title sequence, and I think that might have thrown it off ever so slightly. So, there you have it. That's my review of 73 Yards. Join me more on Tom Mason for more videos, and hope you enjoy my review of 73 Yards. I'm going to go walk 73 yards now. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, just before I do disappear, this whole episode was set in Wales. I mean, the landscape, when they did the first shot, I forgot to mention this, the landscape was beautiful. Where the TARDIS was beautiful, and a lot of Wales is beautiful. So I was very happy about that. And Dame Siân Phillips was in it. What an incredible actress she is. And her role in Doctor Who was amazing. I wish she could return in another role, because we didn't really get much of her as a character, so she can appear as another role, and we won't be any, well, like, fans that pay attention to who's been in it more than once will know, like, Colin Baker's been in it twice as a Doctor, and another character, Karen Gillan was in it twice as Amy Pond, and another character. So people that pay attention to that detail will know, but who knows. Anyway guys, thank you guys for watching. Time to vote. Bye!
Don't forget to subscribe to the official Tom Mason YouTube channel.